So, we'll start off, give yourself a bit of a rundown, who you are, your gym, anything else interesting about yourself or your journey. And yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So I'm Paul. I own Achieve Strength Conditioning at Edgeworth, and yeah, a bit of a rundown about me. I enjoy training. I've got 2 kids, live in Edgy, born and bred around that area, and yeah, so I've just really enjoy fitness.
Yeah, no, you're a pretty hardcore trainer. Like, even, like, I train, I don't know, 6 days a week, but you train, like, 6 days a week, like, twice a day, a lot of the time. So give us a rundown, like, a normal week of training for you, how that would look Monday to Friday, how many times a week you train, how many classes do you do with strength, you know, different focuses that you have throughout the day. How would that look?
Yeah, so my schedule's pretty jam-packed. Most days I'm up at 4 a.m. and most of the time I'm usually busy until about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, typically. I guess most of the PT sort of schedule or gym fitness sort of schedules run, you get that break sort of in the middle of the day. However, most of the time I usually would fill that up with extra training. So Monday to Saturday lately, especially leading into comps, I'm usually training around about 15 to 16 times a week in terms of session count, which is freaking huge. I definitely need to be dropping it down. The problem is, yeah, obviously, like there's need to be working on lots of different areas to make sure that we are competitive when we do the turf games and we do all those other events as well. So typically I'll shoot at the moment through probably 2 runs a week, one longer one shorter one. And then I've got 2 ollie lifting sessions, 3 base strength sessions. We've got an aerobic session as well with the ergs that we do weekly, and then usually shoot through a couple of extra WODs and whatnot throughout the week as well.
Yes,
but typically throughout the day I'll train, today for example I've trained at 5:45 a.m. and I've trained at 9 a.m. as well, and I'm likely to do another session this afternoon roughly around 4 or 5 o'clock, so I do have a little bit of a gap in between each of the sessions, enough time to fuel up, make sure I'm recovered, make sure I'm actually pushing myself in the sessions, which is another big thing that I know a lot of people who do train to that volume, you tend to find that there are sessions where you have to pull back, but I find that if you're recovered and you're training and you're making sure that you do all the right things, then yeah, you can still train and push yourself regardless of the volume.
So you hit motor, metcon, and then strength. Is that kind of how you do it?
Pretty much, yeah. Typically I try and start with my strength work in the day, or the more skillful sort of thing.
Yep.
Some days it just doesn't line up that way. Like Monday, for example, I do an ollie lifting session in the afternoon, but we do a more HIIT type session in the morning.
Yep.
But then again, a lot of the gymnastics work that we do is also first thing Monday morning as well, so it's quite smart in that sense as well.
Is it also designed at the moment for you around competing? Like, it's sort of around the competitions that you're doing?
Yeah,
predominantly.
Yeah,
like, if you weren't competing in those competitions, would you be doing the gymnastics and all that kind of stuff?
I'd probably be dropping the running and the ollie lifting down. So it's always hit the base strength sessions, like squat, bench, dead, accessories around that. It's like always priority. Always hit that first. It's number one, and then typically then I filter my cardio sessions through, and then specifics after that.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in the basics. If you master the basics, then you can move on from there.
Yeah, exact same. Like, I find like that's the basis of my choice of programming at Siege is squat, bench, dead, and yeah, we do strict press as well. Like, that's always been the main basis, and then on top of that, like, we'll tack on some work for some Olympic lifts and stuff like that, and that's our choice. But having that big focus on those foundational strength lifts is just, no matter what you want to do, that's probably the most important thing, hey?
Yeah, 100%. Basics is literally everything. I think a lot of people try and skip the basics and they go straight for the tough stuff, but if you haven't got a solid base, and I'm talking, you've got to spend a few years building it, not just training for a block, done the basics, jump straight in, not a good idea. Need to spend years, probably at minimum, or recommendation of maybe about 5 years of basic training before you start to incorporate some of those more advanced lifts. Especially, like, even with your weightlifting, like, it's that's a good example for it. You know, you don't just jump straight into hitting a top one arm clean and jerk.
Yeah.
Typically, you would break it down, hit the deadlifts, get the basics down pat first, deadlifts, overhead press, then you'd start to piece it together.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Basics number one, especially.
So do you Achieve, like, do you choose? You guys don't have the Olympic lifts in your programming at this stage, hey? Like, in your class programming?
We typically use them as a bit of a primer to the session. So our priority is and will always be our squat, bench, dead. And then we usually use a lighter variant of some form of Olympic lift as our primer, so our warm up into the main lift.
Yeah.
So today, for example, we did power snatches. Power snatch 3x3. lighter weight, focus sort of on moving the barbell quickly.
Yeah.
And then I typically add in myself, and I know that there are a few of the members that do comps. They also do an additional ollie lifting session with the heavy weight. So it might be like a 6x1 clean and jerk into a 6x1 split jerk.
Yeah. Do you guys program that in for them as like an additional session if they want to?
We can do, yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, that's mad. It's it's challenging. I guess like what you design your classes for and what you design your classes to be on like the step for whoever's journey really.
It's hard because, you know, at the end of the day, like we are Gen Pop. We are trying to program for Gen Pop, and Gen Pop has how many goals do you want to, like, you know, they've got this many goals.
Yeah.
And how do you tailor a program for that many goals? And I've got ladies that are in their 60s, you know, they don't want to be doing hang power snatches. They
100%.
they want to come down, they want to sweat, they want to feel good, you know.
Yeah.
They want to feel good from the session, spend some time with the community, spend some time with people. That's what it's about as well. So it's about making it about that, but then also catering towards people who have greater goals in fitness as well.
Yeah, I find like both of us are real similar in sort of how, in a lot of ways we're like very different, but like in terms of how we program it is sort of similar. Like I feel like both of us, and Siege, like I can definitely vouch for that, is like, I feel like it's in that Goldilocks zone. And there's some other gyms that are sort of coming in, like sort of trying to do a similar thing, but I feel like it's a step up from, I don't want to name other gyms, but sort of like your jog on boot camp or other gyms that like circuit style, that kind of thing. It's a step up from that, but it's also, I wouldn't even call it a step down from CrossFit, but it's like CrossFit's in another league. Like it's the next thing, and you've got your high skill gymnastics. So if you want to be, I guess, like competitive in the class that you're doing, you've got to learn that stuff and do it.
Right. I feel our model is maybe more versatile. It's, you know, you can change. We focus a bit more, like you said, or like we both sort of said earlier, is on the basics, and by doing so, we are able to pivot and change and add extras in for people who need to do this and that. But whereas CrossFit's very specific, you know, like you're doing this workout for the benefit of improving your CrossFit competition. Yeah. Then they go and do a different type of competition, and it's a different ball game. Yeah. They've got like there's another event out there called the Bay Games, for example, and they incorporate a lot of water sports. They incorporate like swimming, running, longer efforts. It's quite different to CrossFit. It's not quite the same. Yeah. Whereas those sort of events then suit a more versatile gym.
What do you think of Hyrox?
Hyrox I'm actually signed up this year.
Yeah, sick.
So I'm pretty keen. Actually, we're in the pro doubles event. One of the members and I, Reese. Yeah. So we're gonna give it a crack and see how we go. We've noted out some times that we know that we need to try and hit to see if we can be competitive. I think we're going to do all right. So it's all stuff that we're pretty good at. It's what we've been doing a lot of the Hyrox sessions in our aerobic class on
snuck a couple
Wednesdays.
Of yeah,
I like them. They're
sneaky.
Good. They're sneaky. They're definitely aerobic because it's long. It's going to be a long set. Reese and I reckon we should be able to scrape it in between an hour and an hour 10 for the doubles. Yep. Which should get us a top 5 to 10 placing.
That's gone.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, nice.
Hopefully.
But yeah, and I don't know. I feel like it was interesting seeing like this year with the Open, like it's, you know, suddenly like you've got your first 2 workouts that are becoming more and more, I guess you call them inclusive. Yeah. Like more and more people are able to compete. I think that is just like more gyms like us coming in that aren't CrossFit.
That's right.
And
heaps of them.
People are frothing it. Yeah.
I think the issue that CrossFit's going to have is at the top level, a lot of the movements. It's not that there's a lot of people that can't do them, but there's a lot of people that just aren't interested in them either. Yeah. They just, you know, they want to train hard, but they're not interested in handstand walking or doing the bar muscle ups or the ring muscle ups or anything like that.
It instantly eliminates them from being competitive.
That's right. So immediately they can't compete in CrossFit because of those reasons. And these events that are popping up, Turf Games is another good one. Turf Games, Bay Games, Hyrox, they're all, like I said, highly inclusive, and it's gonna be a game changer. I reckon at some point there will be. I reckon in the next 5 to 10 years, I would not be surprised if one of those 2 events, like probably either Turf Games or Hyrox, ends up taking over to CrossFit's popularity. Yeah,
it'll be interesting. Like I still believe, like I look at the top level CrossFit athletes, and I still believe that they're like the fittest humans.
Oh, definitely.
Like I don't feel like
definitely are.
There are people up there that are like not there because they can't do a fucking handstand walk or whatever. Yeah. But I feel like, Turf Games and Hyrox are definitely going to be very dominant. Yeah. In the next few years. But
different and to different target markets too. Like Hyrox is quite appealing to those that are enjoying like your more endurance-based sports.
Yep.
Turf games is just awesome.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. I'm so keen.
It's one of my favourites. It's
Yeah.
definitely like I said earlier, I've done it since 2019 when they did it in a local gym.
Yep.
And they like decked it out, and there was only like 50 teams. Now they've blown it out. There's like 400 teams.
That's so bad.
It's freaking crazy, dude.
That's sick.
That's hella good energy. And,
Yeah.
and it's good for the gym too, as well. It's like good for the community. It's good. It's inspiring to see people that you know in your local circles out there, push themselves and doing something bigger.
Because you get a lot of members. A lot of your members get around it.
Yeah.
Which is so sick.
Yeah, we got 32 competing at Turf Games in Sydney in
That's
April,
dumb.
so it's massive. Yeah.
How do you get them? How do you initially start getting them all around it for you? Like, how did you? Because like it's something that I've been able to take sort of like a handful of people like into competition and stuff like that, but it's not something that's like you've got almost like a bit of a culture in it at your gym where you just like a lot of people are like waiting to sign up for it and are ready to go. How have you kind of built that up?
So like our sessions are quite difficult that we do program. So a lot of the guys that we do get through are quite fit already, and we just it's hard to like pinpoint it exactly, but like I'm so passionate about it, and I'm passionate about seeing other people improve as well. So it's like my whole life I've always chasing the next thing. Like that's just who I am and what I've always been about. And I always push that on the people that are around me as well.
Yeah.
And if I see somebody at the gym that's like, they're getting up there, they're pushing themselves, they're adding some weight, their times are getting better on certain workouts, I can see that, maybe they should look at some competition. Maybe they should, because at the end of the day, like the competition, what it really is a connection, a community.
Yeah.
Which is the number one thing that we're really about at Achieve. So it's more pushing them into a situation where we can all connect together, see each other move, be better, the whole lot. So it's all in that sort of general area.
Yeah, 100% agree. I've never felt like even just the people that I've done my comps with so far, like I've never felt more connected with those people than when we're like competing together. We have to work together as like a functional team. On the day, and just communication with each other, how we show up and support each other like before and after the events. Like it's so sick, and I really can't wait to get more people at the gym involved around it. And it's also like I find
it's inspiring for your members too. We got 32 competing. I guarantee you there'll be probably another 30 there. Just watching us, and that's in Sydney. They've got to drive. They've got to take the time out of their day, 2 hours down, drive. They're going to spend a whole 8 hours watching all of us compete, and then come home. Late night with us. It's like that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like really, the relationships you create with people, the community you develop. That's what they say at the end of the day. Like when you're about to target, it's the relationships you still hold with the people who mean the most. Bigger your circle, the happier you usually are.
100%.
So
I find so many people don't realise how fit they are as well. Like obviously everyone comes into stage, starts at their own level. A lot of people are coming into stage starting at the baseline. But I find so many of the members at Siege are like, because they're sort of in a little bit of a bubble and training in a bit of a bubble, they don't realise how fit and strong they actually are. And I'm just like, you just come to one of these comps in the Siege, you're not going to do bad.
That's right.
You're going to do good. And I'm speaking from experience. And I said to someone the other day, I was just like, next time you're walking through a shopping centre, see how long it takes you to pick out someone that you think could be fitter or stronger than you. And they came back to me and I was like, I didn't see one person. So crazy. It's so weird. It's so weird. But I was just having a thought about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll test it out. And I just like went through a walk through the shops, and I was just like, I haven't seen one person. I'm not trying to like sound cocky or brag or anything like that, but I'm just following the Siege program. That's literally all I do, and like the level of performance that it's just given me, and it's given all of our members just from just showing up and doing the classes just for an hour each day is like so far above like everyone else that's not doing that kind of stuff immediately. Like it's crazy.
It is quite crazy. If you're training every day of the week and you're pushing yourself, then it's quite easy to get ahead of the masses. I think what inspired a lot of our guys to get into those comps, we've got I'm nothing special. I don't look half the part most of the time. Like I'm not shredded to the bone.
I call it a sleeper
I'm a big
build.
man. Like everyone's like, I'm happy to have a couple of beers every here and there sort of thing. But I always perform really well in the comps. So I always, usually come in top of the podium area there, typically. And I think that's motivated a lot of them as well. They're going, oh yeah, this average fella. Bang, here we go. I'll have a crack. If he can do that well, I can do that well too.
Yeah.
So
I love to call it. I call it the sleeper build. Like myself, like I'm here with like a baggy shirt on or whatever, and like just look like the most average dude. And then all of a sudden, next to me, you're slinging a barbell, you're just absolutely hooking a rower, and they're just like, "What the? Who is this guy?"
I get I do endurance events every here and there as well, and like it's the same thing. Everyone goes, "Oh, look at this bloke. He's like 100 kilo plus," and he's like, they just like take one look at you, and then the next minute you're in the running event, and I'm running a 4:30 pace for a 10k, and these guys are like, "What the shit?"
Yeah.
So it's like it's you know, you don't have to look the part. It's inspiring to see, you know, average people do crazy things. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel personally like I got pretty lean recently, like end of last year, and like posted a photo about it and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it was this calorie deficit that got there. I found my performance has improved. I can put on a little bit of fat back on. Mm-hmm. And I find, like you see, I made another joke to Zoe the other day. We were walking down the beach. I was just like, that guy's a bodybuilder. He's not like an athlete, or not that bodybuilders aren't athletes, but he's not like an athlete that's like needing to perform in a particular thing because like he's so lean. Yeah. And I was like, I feel like there's a point where you just keep getting leaner and it just like detracts from your performance. So you just feel like shit. Like
it can be genetic too. It's like I've got a good client there. He's shredded, 6%, 7% body fat. Performs well as well though, but he's had a life of training and a life of performance-based training. Yeah. And that's, he lives a controlled lifestyle with his food and diet as well. So it's tricky. It's tough. I think a lot of your makeup and your ability to lose fat, gain fat, all that comes genetically to a point, like
you want to say it's not, but I feel like there's a big degree that it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like at least the ease of it, like 100%. The ease of either gaining or losing comes genetically, I believe. Yeah. Some people run high metabolism, some people run low metabolism.
Yeah, 100%.
It's tricky.
I've always found it
can influence it though, but
yeah. I'd like to blame my genetics for my lack of chest.
Yeah.
Even though I've that's all I used to do when I was like 18 through to like 21 was just do chest.
Yeah.
And it never resulted in anything special, unfortunately. It still doesn't. It still sucks.
Yeah. Well, I would have spent probably from the age of like 14 to maybe probably 18 just doing buys and abs, and I've still got nowhere.
Yeah. No, it's funny. My one rule is just like, it sounds funny, but it's just like my chest needs to stick out more than my gut, and that's what matters mainly to me.
Too right. And still see you downstairs.
That's exactly it. So funny. One of the guys actually set that as his goal. One of the guys that's doing Apex. Yeah. It's just literally like, I just want to, when I'm taking a piss, I want to look down and see my dick before my gut. That was his goal. And I was just like, that's such a good fucking goal for a man to have.
It's a visual goal. It's measurable, trackable.
You can track it 3 or 4 times a day. Like,
exactly.
Getting better. Like, it's funny. It sounds cooked, but it's like it's such a good goal, and it's such like a simple thing that like every man should be able to do.
How many millimeters can I see today?
Exactly.
1% better.
Measuring in millimeters. That's funny. Some of these questions are funny. I'm not even going to worry about like pretending that we're not using questions. So I'll be straight up front. We fucking put the questions in ChatGPT. How funny is that?
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts around using like, so you use ChatGPT a little bit, hey?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big early adopter, I would say, of AI. As soon as I heard about it, the second I heard about it, I was straight onto it, like logged straight in. I've been using it for probably over a year now.
What do you think the difference is between the person that's pumping out programs online using ChatGPT, because they're out there now, like people are doing that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Between that and someone that's
experienced
in writing the program, like quote unquote by hand or whatever.
Yeah. Look, so I don't use ChatGPT to write programming, but I do use it for a fair chunk of content and to inspire content as well. But I would, from my experience using AI, I would not recommend using it for programming, as the problem is it can't determine who you're programming for. You can tell it, I'm programming for a person with one leg, and it will write you a program to suit for someone with one leg. Yeah. But you don't know what that person likes, you don't know how they're feeling that day, you don't know all that sort of tricky stuff. Yeah. That you still would need a coach for. Yeah. It can periodize for you, it can do all that sort of stuff for you, but at the end of the day, like, a consumer or a customer or client is going to be coming to you because of the person you are, not because
100%.
of anything else. Like they know that you have a bit of knowledge, you know, maybe you look the part, you know, maybe like they're coming to you for that reason. Otherwise they'll just use ChatGPT themselves.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they'll try it, realize there's no accountability in the ChatGPT, like in it, and then realize after that they'll still need to come to a coach anyways. Because at the end of the day, there's just words coming out. If you don't know how to use them properly and you're not self-motivated, chances are they're probably not going to work. You still need a gym to go to anyway to do it. Like
100%.
that's the tricky part. So, but there are huge benefits still to using ChatGPT and other AI tools. I shouldn't even just say ChatGPT. There is plenty of other ones, like image generation ones. There's even audio, voiceover. There's so many different ones you can use now. ChatGPT's got heaps of plugins, and they're constantly working on it at a rapid rate to make it even more like usable. But like I use it for a lot of planning as well. Like if I get stuck on ideas and I'm not sure what to do, I use it for that. Like, hey, generate me a content plan for Instagram this week. And I have it pre-coded so that it knows my situation, where I'm at, what Achieve's about, it values what we want to achieve, where we're headed. It knows the vision statement. It's like my number one employee, you know. Like I have it so I can work with it, and I don't really use it to direct post. I would usually have it create me a post, and I would rewrite, or I'd use it to inspire my post, is what I should say.
Yeah.
It's like more, yeah.
So yeah, I reckon like what you said was just like on point though. Like it was just like people don't come to the coach, like it's a small part of the reason that they come to a coach is for like their programming ability or whatever. Like that's part of it. But then
it's all the same, like most of the time.
Like
the programming.
Yeah, you can.
There's only one way to periodize. Like
100%. You can look it up. You can Google it online if you know the right thing to type in or whatever. Like, you can just use ChatGPT yourself. But it's like, they're coming to you for like either if they come to your gym, they're definitely coming there for the environment and I guess like the feeling that it evokes within them when they're there.
Definitely.
And of course, like there's a bit of a degree of like the coaching, the
form check,
programming, form check, all that kind of thing. But the first thing that gets them in is the environment. I went around to a couple of people at Siege and just did like a little impromptu, like, hey, what was the first thing that you frothed most about Siege when you walked in? And everyone said atmosphere, environment, people. Like no one said, I love the program, I love the workout. Not one person. And
so one thing it can't, it won't even really be able to influence that sort of stuff, like community.
Yeah.
Because like people want to gather somewhere, they want to do stuff with other people. It's not, AI can't even, there's nothing it can do in that aspect.
Yeah, 100%. That'll become so much more valuable the more AI like takes off, because that'll stand out like such a stark contrast to it. Definitely. Just like that actual like human connection will just become so much more valuable.
It's going to kill off a lot of gyms that don't have like a good set of community or a good set of values even. But just, you know, if people are coming to the gym and they don't have a program or a coach or anything like that, and they use that, then it might suit. Whereas they sort of need, they just need that, they need that sense of community, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
like it's huge. Went around in a circle there.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Like it's so important. And it was something that I was sort of like, in the past I've like really doubled down on like programming, pumping programming, putting out like how good our programming is, or like how good our coaching is, or like tried to sort of differentiate on that, when it's just like in reality the real reason that people come to Siege is for the people, for the community, for the atmosphere, for what it feels like to train with all those other people around them and sweat and throw down and do 1% better each day and whatever. And the bonus on top of that is that we have good periodized structured programming, quality coaching, technique, correction, all that.
Community cells, dude, like we did a post, and I still get comments about this post now, and we did a post start of the year after we did our Christmas session, and what we did was we put in 4 different group shots over the last 4 years of the community growth.
Yeah.
And like the first shot was like 10 people,
yeah.
And then the next one was like 20, and then it was like 40, and then the one that we just took this year was 86.
That's so sick.
Which is like massive, but like that shows that's like I managed to get 86 people to turn up to the gym at the same time to do a session together.
That's awesome.
That's like, it's the most that I've done.
Yeah.
But literally, that's backed on the sense of community, word of mouth from each other, and everybody loves spending time with each other in that community as well. Like, it's huge.
It's such a different, like I've never, like I froth coming up and showing up to my own classes, doing my own programming, but I found like
I do the same.
I found I just don't ever find it an effort. Like I know it's my gym, but I like talk to people and they find the exact same thing. Like I never find it an effort to come in for the hour. Whereas when I used to train at any time, like it was such a such an effort and such like a conscious drain to be there with my headphones on, following my program and all that kind of thing.
Totally agree.
So
Same.
So different. And yeah,
I was always very self-motivated. I actually had a memory pop up on Facebook the other day, and this is going back nearly 13, 14 years. And you know how they used to put out like the most active members and stuff?
Yeah.
So I was at any time, and I was number one. I'd done 38 sessions for the month. And I was that's 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
so still, I'm like, it's still the same. If anything, it's probably a bit more now.
Yeah.
More like 50, 60 a month. But like, yeah, it's just, I never used to enjoy the sessions as much as I do now, but I'm a lot more educated in training and in improving. And I just genuinely do enjoy spending time with people in the community as well.
Yeah, same.
It's massive. Like, there's never a bad day going to work. Like, it's fucking awesome that I get to do this every day.
Yeah, 100%. I froth. I made it a big thing to continue trying like to attract members that absolutely not only froth coaching, but just like enjoyed hanging out with, and also like could learn something from myself.
Yeah.
I found that was a real early in my sort of like PT, I guess, career. Like I always tried to be the coach, the leader. I couldn't possibly get anything from my clients because that was, that would set me up to look like I was not as good of a coach or not as big of a leader or not as big of an authority figure. Yeah. But now I found just being on their level and like obviously being the authority when it comes to training and stuff like that, but also still being able to learn different things from them, like on different aspects of life, or even just from their own training experience. I found that's been a massive thing, being able to just allow myself to get stuff back from the clients. Yeah,
definitely. Everybody's got such different experiences that they can give back to you in the sense that like it's always it's not just give and take, it's a bit of, it's a good balance. Yeah. Everyone can learn from everybody.
Yeah.
So I've got plenty of difficult clients and I learn from them every day.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's the odd challenging client, stuff like that, or a client that just like you say something in a specific way.
Yeah.
And just like you just keep saying or keep demonstrating, it doesn't sink in. Yeah. But then it's like finding the way to connect with that client, get it to the particular cue or thing to like really like sink in.
But it helps you grow too. Right?
Massively.
You can explain how to do a deadlift 5 or 6 different ways, and it's not until you actually have to action on those different ways that you sort of piece them all together and the whole situation becomes better for you. They say one of the best ways to learn something is to teach.
Yes.
So that's massive too.
I completely agree with that.
It's definitely true. Like half the time, sometimes I come in there and to start with, I'm not confident coaching some things, but I come in and after I've coached it for a little bit, I get the confidence through it and then I'm able to coach it even better than I was before. So like toe to bar was one of those movements for me. Like not coming from CrossFit background myself or anything like that, never really even, I think I've done 2 CrossFit classes in my entire time.
Yeah.
Toe to bar I had to sort of self-teach. I did actually have a bit of help from like Vicky Dean at Steel Coast and all that as well. So we did that, and then I spent time learning how to do it myself. And then even just trying to, not having the confidence in the cues and things like that, it took for me to teach those cues and connect with my guys about how to teach that the best possible way. And now like we've got, we have toe to bar in this upcoming comp, and pretty much all of the guys now can do toe to bar.
Yeah, that's sick.
So it's awesome. Yeah.
Toe to bars, I find that's a good one. Because we don't do gymnastics in our programming. And at this stage, it's something that I'm going to definitely keep that way. But we recently added in toe to bar as a program because we do like strict knee raises and strict toe to bar strength anyway at the moment. So I was just like, the kip is just pretty much what the guys do anyway when they're a bit fatigued and like a Metcon if I ever have it in there. So I'm just like, I'll just add it in. We did some tech work on the kip, how to do it, just like your hollow position, Superman position. Like it's pretty simple. And then just started to develop that, and now it's integrated into the classes. I find it's
the guys enjoy learning something
step.
New too, right? Like
they do.
And it's probably it's as gymnastic as I'll ever go.
It's an easy one to just add in, and it's an easy one for people to pick up, and it's easy to scale to like a kipping knee raise or knee to elbow.
Yeah, and it's got good. It uses the core well, uses the back well.
Yes,
there's a lot of good out of it. Yeah, it's a good movement.
Yeah, it's a very good movement, and it's probably it's like the main only movement that's in like turf or something like that. Like the only thing you really see come up. So if you can do that, like you don't have to be able to do muscle ups. I find what else is in there? Rope climbs are in there a bit. It's like doing count as gymnastics, I guess. Sort of.
I don't know. Like it's like a grey area, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It's like typically not really a gymnastics class movement. It's more a strength, but then there is a lot of skill.
There is a lot of skill to doing it fast and well, unless you're strong as heck.
Bring your feet close to your hands, stand up.
Yeah.
Reach,
Reach, lift,
two
clean,
pumps,
stand.
tap it and drop.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Try and get it into. Some of us are a bit shorter, so
Yeah, you're 6'2", mate. It's pretty easy.
it's not too bad. You can probably get 1.5.
Yeah, I can usually get them out and back too, and then it's just it's the confidence to just drop from a 4 meter height.
Yeah, I can get it into. It took me a while to get it into. Like, it took me a while to get that clamp big enough because I'm like shorter than you. But yeah, I find it real challenging if you've got to start on your back or something on the ground. You ever had that?
Yeah,
That
that's the scale. Like, yeah.
like no, like, you know, when you have to start on your back, do your first J hook, and then pull up from there.
I don't think I've done that. Yeah.
No, you got to I did a comp. It was called BTS Throwdown at the showground.
Okay, I think I've heard of that one.
And you had to J hook with your ass on the ground, and then you couldn't let your feet touch the ground. You had to pull yourself to standing from there, and then start from that.
Whew.
And that was like, I hadn't really been doing rope climbs real long, and it was such a struggle. Like, it was so challenging,
man.
but it was sick. It's sick. Like, it makes it so much harder because as soon as you jump, you like cut out like half the.
A lot of our boys just do legless, like because we've not learnt how to do.
Yeah.
So they just do legless.
Yeah.
Which is faster, but like
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah. There's only like 4 rope climbs split between 2 athletes or whatever. Like, a lot of our guys will just smash up it.
Yeah, it's good movement. I don't mind it. There's not much else that's sort of similar to it. So
it's super fun, real taxi on the grip, but like, just any part of your body that even touches the rope, besides like the inside of your hands, just gets absolutely ruined.
yeah.
I find I'll just like get in the shower, I'll be like, oh, it's stinging, I'll be like, oh yeah, that touched the rope, yeah.
Yeah, the shin, the front of the leg. Oh,
Yeah, get the knee sleeve on that one.
you got to be wearing long socks.
Yeah, bro. So what's the I guess what's the next upcoming thing? So for you, turf coming up, I'm doing that as well.
Comps.
Actually, that's sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah,
I'm
be fun.
excited. I didn't know you were doing that elite mark.
We are.
Yeah,
I
you
think
guys.
it was. Yeah. So yeah.
Is there much difference?
The weights are a lot heavier. So you guys we're using dual dumbbells.
Yep.
A lot of it. There's more rope climbs for us, and with the ergs, there's a few extra calories that we've got to complete.
Yeah, got it.
Other than that, not really. There's the expectation of the strength as well. Like like the max is going to be very high.
Yeah.
I don't know how competitive we'll be in the strength workout, but I know that we're going to do really well in the other ones. So,
Yeah.
like our cardio is massive, so our engine workout we should do really, really well. They only just recently dropped some of the numbers down, but we tested it with the original numbers and we were still managing to finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so between that and then the sprint and all that, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Very, very keen. Other than comps wise, like I'm getting married at the end of the year personally.
That's
so
sick.
It's cool. Yeah. And then business wise, at the moment we've got a training app out now on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
That's sick.
So it's pretty cool. It's a big standalone. It's not a rebrand, which is really cool. So just at the moment, just like filtering out, getting it all like some little bits and pieces all ironed out before we do a big marketing stint on trying to get some people through that.
Yeah.
So we're going to sell our programming out now for like $10 a week.
Yeah, mad.
So
Yeah, we do the same. We do $9 a week for the program, but yeah, we don't have our own app. Like, we use like a third party app for our stuff.
Yeah.
So that'd be sick to have your own.
Yeah. So it's cost us a fair bit. Hopefully in the long run it'll pay off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be good. So far so good. Everyone loves seeing what torture they've got coming up. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got the ability to house multiple programs plus program add-ons and whatnot.
Yeah.
Leaderboards, and then there's a community section for people to be able to post in there as well, so we can keep it a bit more in-house in our own stuff. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's articles and knowledge-based type stuff in there.
You don't get filtered on Facebook.
Yeah, don't get filtered. You can see the content straight up. I can send push notifications out to all the members if they need it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. Really good for the community. How do you find? I think this is nabbing back to training a little bit more.
Yeah.
How do you find you keep yourself motivated to show up and train each day? Like, what do you find really drives you?
I just know that it's the way. Like in life, it's always the one thing that you can anchor on that will always move forward if you just keep going.
Yeah.
So it's more the motivation of just knowing that I'm improving myself or moving in the right direction constantly. But generally, I'm just interested in training itself. Like there's never a moment where it's like, no, I don't feel like it today. This doesn't happen for me. I make sure I get up and push myself through the session, even if it's something that I'm not good at or don't like. I don't really like. I'm at that point in my fitness career now where it's like I'm not emotionally attached to anything. Like,
Yeah.
I don't go, oh shit, I got thrusters today. It's like, oh cool, thrusters, let's just do it.
Yeah, I found it took me ages to get to that.
Yeah.
Like, I've only gotten to that. It's a game changer when you get to it.
Yeah.
Because how you show up for each workout's so good. But I definitely have only got to that in the last 6 to 8 months, I reckon.
Yeah.
And I was such a little bitch before. Like,
Yeah.
I would just cherry pick the fuck out of everything.
Yeah, I never do that.
Yeah, when you just,
as it says.
you just do it. Yeah,
As
yeah.
heavy as I can, you know, like we train, I guess, you know, you've got your standards, or set standards for certain workouts, you know, like you look at thrusters and it's like 22 and a half for blokes, typically, those sort of standards. And like the motivation for me is how far forward can I push that? Like I could do, I know if I was to do a workout like that, I would choose a set of 30s.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I push myself in that way and keep increasing the weight on movements like that, then I can, when it comes to comps and stuff, if they go 22 dumbbells, I'm like,
All day.
sweet.
Yeah.
Like,
I know I can move 30s.
easy. Like, yeah, that's right. So it's just it's the motivation of knowing if I do the hard work now, it's going to be easier for me later on. I live by that in so many parts of my life.
Yeah.
And I just went to a talk with Andrew Huberman not long ago.
That's so sick. I wish I'd gone to that.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I bet it would have been.
And like he talks massively on just doing the hard thing, and it's literally, you know, training is like the most accessible or first step that people can take to doing the hard thing, and the trade-off of like constantly doing the hard thing is that everything else in your life doesn't feel as hard. Like you have so much more motivation to do those things as well. Like it's all intertwined. But yeah, training, I find for me is it's number one priority. It's like number one.
Yes.
At least once a day, number one priority. Like
Yeah.
it's, if I'm doing, like even my wedding day, I'm going to train before the fucking wedding. I'm promise.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ingrained. Like unless it's Sunday.
That's it. You gotta ingrain it, and literally at a cellular level, make
It has to be priority.
part of who you are.
Yeah, it's got to be. It has to be priority. Has to be. And then after that, spend some time getting that into priority. Then you can look at the next layer. But if you're starting right now, you really need to make that priority first. But your problem is you're going to be hearing from people who are like us, who have been doing it for so long, that you need to have this, you need to take this, take creatine, you need to eat heaps of protein, you need to do all this.
Try and do it all.
Just get one thing ingrained first, then you can look at the subset. Like if you're not ingrained in training and you start just coming and going, like, and I understand consistency and all that sort of stuff. Like happy if you train 3 to 4 times a week, that's fine. Stay consistent on those 3 to 4. I'm saying like if you do 4 one week, 1 the next week, 0, and then 5, like I'm talking consistency over decades, not even consistency over a year, consistency over a very large period of time. That way you can build on those other tasks, but get one thing down pat first.
Yeah, you've got to I hear what you're saying there. Just
training is the most accessible hard task, like I said earlier. It's the easiest one and the most beneficial. Like it's like you're paying, like you look at your gym membership, you're paying $50-$60 a week to go to a gym, and you get your training, you get your community, you get all those sense of everything in one. So you already like that sort of stuff makes the hard task easier, and then you can just go from there. Like then you've got the next space of support for your next things: protein intake, water intake. Like talking to somebody who knows somebody about the next career move for you.
Yeah.
Like it's
you got to normalize like one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You got to start, as you said, 2-3 sessions a week, lock that in. It's like your new normal from the point of like, okay, cool. Now when you have a hectic week or stuff's going on in other areas of your life, you never sacrifice that minimum 2-3 sessions a week. Every now and then you get a 4th, every now and then you might get even a 5th, but
grow it up.
2-3 becomes your baseline. Next minute, 4's your baseline. Next minute, 5, 6, 7's your baseline.
And you know, if that's a priority, the rest of your life will work its way around that. Like it will. Like I mean, now that I own a gym, it's a bit different, but but even beforehand, you know, gym was still priority, training was still priority, and I just made sure that I could always get my session in before I went to work. Some days I went after work as well if I needed to. So it's always priority.
This is meant because you're a dad with young kids as well, and this is like the biggest thing for me because I don't have kids, so it's very challenging to speak to someone that's having very challenge, like at the end of the day, challenges with time prioritization for training. Yeah, and it's funny you say that, like, because sometimes people would say, oh, so you prioritize training over your own kids, and it's like, no, not at all.
Like, no one, yes and no, really. Like, it's like, my thing is, I feel that I am a better parent because I've trained. And instilling that hard task first into my kids is very important in that sense as well. You know, like it's important that they see that training is such a large part of my life. Because when they get a little bit older, they're gonna be like, why does dad always train? Like, why is he always doing this? Why is he? And then we can instill that into them. I think a lot of parents use, this is going to be controversial, I think a lot of parents use the kids to get out of training. Like, they use that as an excuse. Oh, so-and-so's got a little bit of a cough. No, I can't come today. Can't come today. So-and-so's got a cough. Can't come today. They've got this appointment on. I'm like, do it some other time. Like, you still need to do it. It has to be done. Priority number one.
Yeah.
Get your training done. Get up at fucking 3:30 in the morning if you fucking have to, to get your training done, you know?
Yeah.
It should be number one. And then do your kids. That's what we do. It's Jess and I, we're both the same. She trains every day. I train multiple times a day.
Yeah.
We have 2 kids. We have a house. We have
You both have
everything.
jobs.
We both work,
jobs. Yeah.
So it's, you know, and I do extra work. So I don't just own a gym. Like, I do extra disability service work as well. And we just make it work because we know that it's such a high priority in our life.
Because it's a non-negotiable for you. So it's just like,
100%.
as soon as you make it
You
the
cannot talk me out of
non-negotiable.
it.
Yeah, as soon as you make it the non-negotiable, it's just like, you will find a way to do it.
Yeah.
I put a post up like this the other day and I got like, someone sent me a message about it. Just like, you still don't understand because you don't have kids and you never will until you have kids. And it's just so good to be talking to someone who has kids and just completely agrees with me on this. Like, it's, at the end of the day, like, as you said, you're not prioritizing the gym over the kids. You're prioritizing
take the kids with you.
Training for your kids as well. Like, for the father that you're going to be when you're focusing on your health and fitness, and also like them witnessing that.
If you don't prioritize your health and fitness in front of your kids, then your kids won't respect health and fitness.
And they'll have the same issues when they grow up. They won't be able to prioritize it for themselves.
That's right.
Because they've never had a model.
Someone's got to change the grain. Someone's got to change it.
100%. Yeah.
It needs to be you. Has to be.
That's a bit of a word.
It is.
Intergenerational.
But it's like, it's such a thing, right? Like, so many people just chuck the blame around, but they don't take it on themselves. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you want to be a good leader, it's always your fault.
It's always ownership.
That's right. It's always your fault.
100%.
Not yours, but mine. But equally yours.
Yeah. I get it. The ownership thing is huge.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't even read that. I haven't even read that book.
It's a great book.
So good.
And
extreme ownership.
Yeah, extreme ownership. And you know, it's just he talks in the book. It's like, it doesn't even matter whether it affects you or not, but it's your fault. That's basically his thing. It's like, it does not matter. It's your fault. You sort it out, or you need a plan to sort it out, regardless.
That in and of itself isn't taking your power. It's actually, if anything, it's giving you all the power, because you've gone from being a victim to something else to being a hero, to having the power to make the change. If you take ownership of it completely, you have complete power to make change on it, and you claim that power. I think that's a lot of things people miss. It's like, oh, I don't want to take ownership. That's not my fault. It's just like, well, do you want to continue to being at effect to it? I guess that's it.
It's gotten to be where I am now.
100%.
Still drives me now. Like, the only people, like, especially like for us who work for ourselves, you know, like, ownership's massive. Like, who's pushing us?
Yeah.
No one.
Exactly.
We push ourselves. Otherwise.
Plus, if you have a problem in like the gym or in the business that you need to solve, if
no one else is going to solve it for us.
If you're blaming something else for it,
that's right.
You can't solve it.
It won't get solved.
It won't get solved.
No, you got to put out the fires. It's straightforward.
Ownership is 100% the path to success. And just, the path to having power back over your time, power back over, everything. I rate it massively.
I'll have to lend to that book. I've got it.
I should wait, is it a book or is it? You read books, hey?
I read a lot of books.
I listen to a lot of books.
No,
I'm not a big reader, eh? What do you find the benefit is of reading over listening to it?
You get more time with it, and it depends how you learn, to be honest. Like there's the 3 different ways to learn, and I tend to find visually, I'm pretty good with all 3 methods. I'm definitely better if I visually see it and hear it and do it, then I will learn it better.
Yeah.
But I find that Personally, I just like to collect books. I think it looks awesome in my house.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
That's one major thing.
I don't want to be an imposter because I love the look of books and the smell of books as well. But like, I just will never actually open the book. Like, I'll listen to it. I'll listen to it in the car. Like, I'd love making productive use of that time of driving instead of just like pumping dubstep on the way to the gym. Like, I'll listen to like a productive book. Like, that's how.
It's like a good way to relax, right? But at the same time, feeling like I'm making steps towards like the bigger goal.
Yeah.
So like I typically try and read at minimum probably 10 pages of a book every day, if not more. Like some days usually a bit more. And then if I've got a little bit more time on my hands and I need to just veg for a little bit, then I'll just lay on the lounge and read more of the book.
Yeah.
It's a good way to relax, calms you down, slows you down a little bit. And you get good ideas out of it. I'm reading a human behaviour based book at the moment, so I can maybe learn how to connect or understand how people tick better. And then use that knowledge to be a better person.
I'm reading. It's called The One Thing at the moment.
I think is that from Peter Thiel?
No, it's not. I can't remember the author.
I
But it's.
think I've read that one.
Yeah, it's so good. There's one thing that really double down on. It's just like have your one thing that just is absolute priority, that's non-negotiable, that you have to get done no matter what, that's going to give you the most benefit. And like they gave the example of a goal-setting thing. First thing was people don't set goals far enough in the future. They like massively overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and massively underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years.
That's right.
So the idea was set a goal for 5 years.
And it's going to have layers.
What's the one thing that you want to achieve in 5 years?
Yeah.
Divide that by 5 basically. What's the one thing that you need to achieve this year to make sure you're on track for your 5-year goal? Yeah. Break it down into the month. What's the one thing you need to achieve this month to make sure you're on track for your 12-month goal? Break it down to the week, break it down to the day, break it down to today, break it down to right now. What's the one thing that you need to action? And it's just like, it so simplifies it so much, but it's like, it's not overly simplified. That's how simple it needs to be.
Yeah. So really cool idea, because this is simply how I work. So my weekly, what I do each week to get myself accountable is I have a spreadsheet. So
fuck these questions.
Yeah. So I have a spreadsheet that I run off, and it comes from the idea of it came from Ollie Marchon and Jens. Like they've got a thing called the Gymona Network.
Yep.
And it come from them. But basically, what it is, so there's 4 areas that I look at in myself each week, and I sit down every Sunday for a good hour or two, and I make sure that I'm targeting these areas. And that's what am I marketing this week? What am I selling this week? What am I delivering this week? And how am I leading this week?
Yeah.
And I write down 3 things in each of those areas every day, including Saturday and Sunday, and Friday, and the rest of them. And I action that as my weekly to-do list. And then on the side of that, I have 3 daily non-negotiables. And I'm well past training as a non-negotiable, so I don't even bother tracking that.
Yeah, it doesn't even get tracked.
Doesn't even get tracked. Yeah. I'm tracking things like, have I consumed enough protein and creatine today?
Yeah.
Have I had a cold therapy session today? Have I read enough of a book today? I'm tracking those things daily, and since I've done this, I've hit it every day without fail. Not one missed day.
Just in a journal?
Just on a spreadsheet. It's on I've got access to it 24/7. Whenever I need it, I pull it up on my phone, pull it up on my laptop.
Yeah, got it.
Wherever I need it, I've got it. So even if I'm out and about and I've got fucking 5-10 minutes spare, I can whip it up and go, today, bang.
Yeah, tick it off.
Send the story off. Hey, talking to the camera.
Yeah.
That sort of shit. Pop that up. What am I doing? What am I delivering today? Is that section there is all about quality of service. How am I making the lives of my customers better?
Yep.
What am I doing today or right now to improve their experience either with myself or with Achieve?
Yep.
Leadership one is more targeted towards myself personally. What am I doing to be a better person myself today? How can I lead better to my staff and even to my clients? How can I be a better leader?
Yep.
I also track against sales and making sure that I'm doing 3 actions on sales every day.
Yep.
And I do the same thing for marketing. And then every so often, I'll go through and I'll make sure that those actions are aligned towards the bigger goal.
Yep.
I also track a large list of yearly goals alongside that spreadsheet. So that spreadsheet's more on a weekly, monthly focus.
Yep.
And then it also is technically broken down to a daily focus as well. the other side of it is my yearly goals. So I have set a few yearly goals. Some of them are difficult to achieve. Some of them are very quick to achieve.
Yeah.
Like this year specifically is getting married. It's a goal.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get that done.
Hopefully it's done.
Be interesting if not.
No outrageous objections when you get into it.
Yeah. But that's one of them. I want to be able to run a sub 25k this year. So that's another one on the list. I've got,
That's a good one.
Like it
like that.
aids in other fitness-based goals as well.
Yeah.
I have set myself a goal of hitting 10 different courses this year, like attending 10 different and completing 10 different online, whether it's online, in person, just 10 different courses.
Yep.
In different areas. I've got a goal in fasting goal as well. I'm going to try and do a 4-day fast this year. I know it's been spoken about a lot on the internet. I want to give it a go firsthand, regardless of what everyone agrees or disagrees to it. I'd like to have a crack and see what happens.
I think like the fasting thing, like the complete like health thing aside, I think a lot of people are very, very addicted to food, and not just what the nourishment of food, but the dopamine hit of food. And I think to fast, even just from a mental perspective, is a very productive thing to do.
Oh, dude, it's
100%.
I've been doing 24-hour ones, and
Even just 24 hours.
the control that I have had back on my life from that is huge, and the clarity, massive. Like, yeah, it's just it's such a game changer. Like I'm pro fasting. I know there's people out there that are anti. They're like, oh, how do you still train? I'm like, it's all here. It's all up in your head.
Yeah.
Like it's you're like, what do you mean? I've got stores of food still here. Like it's there. I can pull on it. Like I fasted 24 hours and I've done 4 gym sessions in between the time that I started and I finished.
Yeah.
It's a matter of perspective, really.
I'm pro fast, and I don't know enough about like the health side of things, so I don't advocate for it, but I advocate for it in the sense of like, whenever you're addicted to anything, whatever that be, even if you're like, oh no, I'm not an addict, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs or whatever, it's just like, well, okay, fast for 24 hours. Oh no, I couldn't do that. It's like,
that's right.
You're addicted. You're addicted to food, and when you're addicted to something, you're not fully in your power.
That's right.
And when you...
Correct.
Yeah, and you've got to spend time taking that away.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, like, I've just noticed it creeping up on me, but caffeine.
Yeah.
100%. I'm definitely addicted to caffeine. Yeah, and it's...
I think as a coach and PT, I think it's very standard for industry.
That's going to be my next thing, because it's like, it has power over me. I find myself making excuses for like, oh no, I just feel like a coffee, I just enjoy it. And I genuinely do enjoy it, but like, definitely also there's a thing of just like, I wouldn't go a day without it. So...
And the scary part is like, your body, like the tolerance level increases as you go. So it's... each day, like not each day, but like every so often you find yourself having an extra little bit and a bit more and a bit more, and then it's like, holy shit, like fuck, he's having so much. Like today I've had 2 energy drinks and a full like large long black iced coffee as well.
Yeah.
And like I'm probably going to have another coffee later.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Yeah, so easy. It's like, I just feel like another one today.
Yeah.
And the next minute, again, like the opposite effect of like the positive thing of stacking training. Like you're just like, I might do 3 this week and normalise that. And
I never even used to take it for training. Like my whole thing with it, like I don't do pre-workout, I just have caffeine. But my whole thing with it was always, I want to turn up for my people. I want to coach at full energy. They deserve me to be there, fully switched on, ready to fucking go. But as you know, as a coach, like it's quite hard to get 8 hours sleep when you're working split shifts.
Yeah.
You're not getting to bed till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
Should be getting up.
And then you're getting up at 4 a.m. after you've done 3 sessions in a day. Like it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's been tough, and we're bringing the 5 a.m. back now, but that's why I got rid of the 5 a.m. because I was just, my training was like fucked because I was just like doing all the 5 a.m.s. And I just was not recovering, and it was getting to the stage where I wasn't able to show up as much. I was starting to use caffeine. I find personally when you use caffeine, like in the arvo, even if you still sleep, it still disrupts your sleep, like disrupts your REM. It's in your system for 12 hours.
Circadian rhythm gets fast.
Yeah.
You've got to, you can stabilize it, but you've got to be consistent. Everything's consistency, but you got to be consistent with it. But but like, I guess, how many people, like going back to the goals thing, a lot of people, they pass through life without even considering what is the overall goal, like, or the thought of. And like for myself, at the end of the day, what I'm doing is the vessel for the overall goal. And like, for me, if I achieve this goal, then I know that I've made it, because my goal has always been travel orientated and experience orientated. So my goal, I would like to be able to go to Europe for like 3 to 6 months and not have to think about money or, anything like that. I'd take my kids with me, take out of school for 6 months, and not have to think about whether my house is getting paid off or whether the bills are getting met or anything like that. If I can achieve that, then I'm happy. And the reason I like this goal is because, one thing, like it pushes you to do more, because you can't just do that sort of a goal on a normal job. Like, I have to be better. I have to learn and I have to grow and be a better business person and whatnot, because that goal requires me to be able to make money whether I'm working or not.
Yeah.
Like I need, which is already a huge thing. So at the end of the day, like that's what pretty much motivated me to get to where I'm at now. And I feel like I'm still a fair way off the goal now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know about you. Like, have you ever had a thought about what your overall arching goal is? Like,
so I've got my vision for the business, and for Siege, which is basically to see a world where people have holistically performing bodies to overall enhance their experience of life. So it's like what we deliver at Siege is pretty much like 80-20 health lifestyle. So it's like we're developing like 80% of our services towards health, like getting people's health, but that has like a 20% at least carry over to people's lifestyle, the things that they're able to do, especially getting older, how they can continue to do things, lift big, go on hikes, run, do whatever the heck in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and then still be able to just like pick something up without worrying about having to throw their back out in their 70s and 80s, stuff like that. That's where the vision's sort of headed. And then in line with that, I've got my soul dream, which is pretty much my lifestyle and my family's lifestyle and security all meshed in with the business as well. So I'll talk about it a little bit, which is I want to have Siege, or a version of Siege, gun facility on a farm setting.
Cool.
And that's up the front. I've dabbled with it, and this is all like, I'm using ignorance as my greatest power to how actually challenging this is going to be to make viable, but I would love to have some sort of cafe in there as well that's serving whole food and nourishing food to everyone, and just like really be conscious about how we're sourcing ingredients and food and everything like that, and how we're nourishing our members. That's very important to me because it's become important in my diet recently, and all that kind of thing, and the impact of how toxic food has started to become in supermarkets, and the effect that that's having on people, and particularly men with testosterone levels and hormones and stuff like that. It's been massive. So that's part of my vision. And then obviously the gym, a gun gym, just to keep it short without going into it too much, but then have over the hill on the other side, have my family home where my kids can grow up on sort of like more of a farm setting and have that sort of childhood that I was able to have with my family growing up on the farm. And then tied into that, there's also the lifestyle goals that you spoke about. I can leave for 3 months and have the gym be able to run itself successfully and still create that same experience and impact for the members that come without me having to actually still be there. And I can take time out and spend time with the kids. I can make sure Zoe has enough to, look after the kids and stuff like that, and she doesn't have to work if she doesn't want to, like little goals like that. And I used to feel so much, I guess, like shame around wanting to like make serious bank from my business. It sounds funny, it's almost like that kind of tall poppy syndrome that's sort of a bit hectic in Australia. Like if you shouldn't want to make a lot of money for yourself, and you shouldn't want to make a lot of money for your family. At the end of the day, like, money is absolutely power, but it's just,
it's everything.
It's everything. Like, and it's like
it's not everything.
It's not everything, everything, but
you need it.
It's a lot. You need it. You can't deny any longer that you need it.
Yeah.
And if what you're providing in return and the impact that you're providing in return is real, tangible, and honest, and it's absolutely creating that much
100%.
value, if not 10x in return for your
should
your
be
clients.
rewarded equally to what you give.
Absolutely, because I know how much of my energy and life force and time that I give on top to the business. I know how much that you give as well, and it's not just in putting that into the business, but it's also like being the change. Like that was, for me, that was like such a massive driver to why I upped my training as well. It's just like, you've got to be the living, breathing example of everything that you're preaching. That's going to be the best thing, but there's plenty of guys out there that aren't doing it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of guys that are out there preaching health, and they're jacked to the eyeballs on roids and stuff like that, and you know, they're just looking after themselves.
Half the industry.
Yeah, half the industry. Like, you want to be that real person in the industry. This is like what you've got to do, and it's time you've got to
relatable. You need to be relatable. Or you need to be the figure that somebody wants to be like, or even not even the figure, but even just the person, the qualities. There has to be, you know, a quality in you that the people want to follow.
And there's no hiding for us.
No.
Like, they're seeing us every day. They see like our partners, families, everything. Like,
people message you all the time. Like, it's you get all that sort of stuff all the time.
Yeah. And they're walking past you on the street. They're walking past you in the street. They're seeing you at cafes. Like that. Like, there's no hiding from it. Like, exactly, if you're the real deal, or you're not. Like, you're either doing it and embodying it yourself, or you're not. Like, and they see it. You can't hide behind a screen and say that you're doing all this stuff, like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it. But obviously, it's massively beneficial for both of us. Like, because we embody the stuff that we're preaching, so we get the benefits of what we're preaching, which is huge. And then
it's like compound, I reckon, that what we do. We're getting rewarded in multiple ways.
Yes,
and the longer we continue to get rewarded, the better it will be, like long term as well. So it's good. It's a good way to do it.
I think we wrap it up there.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
That was good.
We're going to pick kids up, commitments as a father.
You got to squeeze things in to think where you can. So,
but
thanks for having us, dude. That was good.
I appreciate you taking the time out for this.
It was good. Happy to be here. Happy to have a chat. Hopefully, we can provide some value or some insight into how we run things, how we do things. So, hopefully, we've helped some people today.
I think there was definitely value.
Definitely,
not in the ways of that chat GPT for us at the beginning.
It got us going though, and it got us started.
I literally modelled the first question off that, and then every other question was just like free. We didn't use it at all. So.
That's right. And I could vouch for that. I've seen all the questions.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll wrap that up.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.